I'm Noah Lyles.
I'm Ryan Benjamin.
And I'm Grant Holloway.
And this is Beyond the Records. Hit it, Steve!
World record holder.
For sure, not even close. Track was our favorite.
Can you race Usain Bolt? That would go so viral, you don't even understand.
Bro, we made thousands of videos, went through the effort of doing those things.
Peace out. Later. Thanks, guys. Y'all are the best.
Hey, I'm Noah Lyles.
And I'm Ryan Benjamin, and welcome back to the Beyond the Records podcast. This episode is brought to you by HUEL, the world's best and most complete nutrition shake.
Today we have the honor of hosting a two-time Olympian, gold medalist, and author of New York Times bestseller, I'm That Girl, star of Nike Super Bowl commercial So Win, and Time Magazine's 2025 Women of the Year, Jordan Chiles. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to be here. I have been screaming the past few days. That's why my voice is a little messed up. But, thank you guys so much. It was news to me literally about an hour ago. And being New York Times bestseller is definitely like a huge thing. Being a little kid sitting right next to your parents and you always wonder what your dreams are made of, and finally being able to say I have a book out that's not just about, my cool and amazing accolades that are connected to me, but it's about my whole life and understanding the person that I am today. So it's been a crazy few months since I've released, been before I released it, after I released it. So I'm really excited, and it was a fast turnaround for sure, but I'm very proud of myself.
It's something to be very proud of. When did you know that you wanted to write a book?
I mean, it was more of like my parents always telling me everything that I did when I was younger, especially my dad always told me, that's going to be a piece of your book, a chapter in your book that, you always wonder how people's lives are crazy or, they're so quote unquote perfect. And so everything that I did, whether it was playing t-ball, whether it was being in the marching band, whether it was, flipping around on a t-ball field, picking daisies. So I definitely think it was more of an imagination. I've been saying this recently. It's like when you're a little kid and you imagine having, those imaginary friends and you wonder if those are going to ever become true into your life. So I definitely can say this book was an imagination and it became my reality, and I'm very, honored and happy that people get to see or read, listen to however it is of who Jordan is, and that my life wasn't perfect, right? I went through 23 years of my life trying to figure out what I was going to do with life and if the Olympics were still a thing and are a thing. So it's definitely been a journey to figure out when it was the right time to put a book out.
No, yeah, I definitely understand all that.
You touched on the Olympics, and I think arguably you've come off of one of the greater Olympics this past summer. So let's rewind and let's talk about that. Walk us through what it was like to finally, because you've been to Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And you know how different that was. We were all there, and it wasn't right. You didn't really get the true feel for the Olympics, but Paris was an entirely different ball game. So, walk us through that. What was it like finally being able to compete in front of a sold-out crowd? I mean, you guys are pretty much packed every single day.
Well, leading up into our actually the whole year I should say, we all had this redemption tour that we were trying to, not only as a team, prove, but also to ourselves. So for me, a lot of it was just, how much more can I give? How much more can I put out? How much more can people see of who I am? And so knowing that I was, going back and forth between college and pro, it's different. So finding the mental capacity to understand myself, to understand my body, to understand just the physical part of everything. So obviously Tokyo, yes, was different, but that still to me was an experience. Who would have thought you would make an Olympic team during COVID? You would think at first the Olympics wasn't even going to happen. Everybody was going to wait till 24. So yes, the experiences were different, but I do have to say I enjoyed both of them almost the exact same, whether I had a crowd or whether I didn't. To me, it was more about being on the biggest stage and representing your country in the best way possible. And so Paris just obviously had a little more touch and pizzazz to it. You know, we had the Olympic Village a little more. We were actually, you know, able to enjoy the outside area of the Olympic Village. So I definitely can say that experience was more of like a life experience, because the gymnastics and the sold out crowds and having celebrities there was just like the cherry on top of everything. It was an amazing experience. Yes, I wouldn't change the world for it. I still to this day am like, I went to 2 Olympics and my second one was Paris. Like, people dream of just going to Paris just to have fun, right? Having an Olympic Games, it makes a lot of sense because each and every sport has its own fashion to it. And I think it was really cool having the ability to be in that presence, to be in that, you know, realm of things during the Olympics, and just for us to enjoy. So my experience was cool. I mean, it was long. I got to, you know, the TikToks, the chocolate muffins, the Olympic Village food. I mean, a lot of people ask me all the time, was the food good? And I'm going to tell you, it was not compared.
Oh no.
No, it was not. But the muffins, I can't say, but my teammate, Hesley, she actually ate the chocolate muffins and she said they were really good. So, yeah, I mean, everybody has their own experiences and everybody has their own ability to make the way for what they're trying to prove to themselves throughout the Olympic Games. And so for me, I just wanted to have fun and enjoy the moments. I mean, being in, you know, our team house, and being in the meeting area, watching track and field, and, you know, having those moments with other athletes, I think is really cool, and understanding who they are as people as well, because it's not the same when you're just cheering them on through the screen, right? Seeing them in person, interacting, doing all these things, you get to know them a little more and kind of understand their story and their path. So I got to enjoy that as well, because I got to meet new people. I got to, you know, talk to people that I've seen so many times. Like, Rye, you can't, he's everywhere. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, sir, stop following me at this time. Like, he ended up on my campus. You went to USC. Like, why are you on my campus? But it's just fun. Like, it was just a fun experience, and I definitely would not change anything about the whole experience.
No, I agree with you on that. I always say, like, my best memory from being in the Village is when we were all in the arc, and it was track, gymnastics. It was you, Simone,
Suni,
yeah, Suni. We were all down there, and we were all watching track on TV, and Coco was in the back too, and a couple other tennis players and some fencers, and I was like, yo, this is actually crazy. Like, if you look at the amount of star power in this room right now, and everyone's just sitting down having a normal conversation, and you would never expect it to happen, but because we're in that setting, you know, you're able to facilitate those relationships and kind of see what everyone's like, and it was just a super awesome moment for me too as well. But I mean, I mean, I loved every minute of it.
And I remember when I was watching the Super Bowl and I see this Nike ad. I always have to give it to Nike. They know how to make a freaking ad. Oh gosh, they know how to make a freaking ad. But here I see you making the Nike check in a pose, and I'm like, goodness gracious, she's freaking doing it. You know, you're making the most out of the situation. But not only that, I mean, it was a commercial made to empower women. You were as you said, a shero. Did you feel like a shero when you got the call and they say, hey, we got this idea and we need Jordan Giles?
I did feel like a shero in that moment. I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, they're talking about a Super Bowl commercial. This is Nike. Like, what is happening? And so when they gave me the whole like directive and everything, I was just like, this is gonna be dope. Like, I envision it. Now, did I think it was gonna be that dope? No. Not at all. I thought, I didn't think, I was going to be the ending to it and making a whole Nike swoosh. Like, that was not what I was thinking. Like, there's greater athletes in that video that you guys could have chose. Like, but it was just an honor, I think, really to be surrounded by those amazing athletes. Asia, she's an amazing WNBA star. Sabrina Ionescu, Sha'Carri herself. Like, we had all these amazing women athletes just thriving, right? Thriving. You have Juju. You have, literally, there was
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, there's Caitlin Clark. There's 8 of us. Asia, Sabrina, Sha'Carri, Juju, Caitlin, me. There were 7 of us, and it's the soccer girl. I always forget how you say her name, but just in the dominance and the empowerment that Artie gave, I was just so honored to be a part of that, and that they trusted me to be in that position and be a part of that group. And so it was really cool to be able to film everything. Now, did I know how it was going to turn out? No, I did not, because I was like, they're having me over here doing all these like moves and doing this, and I have to, I have chalk and all these crazy things. I was literally doing a side aerial over plexiglass. Like, I didn't know if that thing was going to break or not. So, it was just really a dope moment for me, and it made me realize how much a woman can dominate in their sport, not only with their athlete side of things, but their person side of things. Because that's what that showed. Our personalities, our fashion, our athleticism, our dominance, our woman. Like, there was just a lot of things within that. So it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I had so many text messages. There was a lot of things that happened that day, and for Doechii to be the voiceover was even crazier. I was like,
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, there's no way. But yeah, I was just very honored, and I couldn't say no. I was like, yes, of course, I will be there. I will do the shoot, and let's see how it turns out. So basically what the campaign So Win was all about is understanding that people can always tell you you're always crying, right? You know how it says, for instance, mine was like, you're too emotional, so be emotional. Like, it's basically the So Win campaign is all about what people tell you, but you're going to do it. It's like you go into, for instance, Noah, people are like, okay, you're not going to be able to run a 6'4", so you run a 6'4". So it's that mentality of no matter what people tell you, you're always going to take that fire and put it into something and actually prove them wrong. So that's what basically the So Win campaign is because no matter how many times we have fallen, cried, we've broken a bone, we've gotten told disgusting things through social media, we've always proven something wrong. Especially because it's so big with women. We have imposter syndrome, we have body positivity, we have body dysmorphia, mental health is a huge thing, a little more than you would think. And especially as athletes, that's even bigger. So that whole campaign was more telling people no matter where we're at and where we're standing, we're always going to prove something wrong in our eyes because that's how strong and powerful and dedicated we are in what we're doing. So that's kind of how the So Win campaign was put out. And I think people understood because it was like you had a powerful woman like Doechii not only narrating the whole thing, but you had these 7 powerful women dominating in their sports and trying to tell you guys, look, I can be angry, mad, but I can also cry and be happy and then tell you, you know what? You're telling me all these things, but I'm going to prove you wrong. So I'm going to just win at it no matter what. So that's the logistics of how the So Win campaign, if anybody wanted to dive deeper into it, that's what they would kind of get out of it. But yeah, for my gymnastics community, journey, a lot of the time I think I can kind of go into my book, right? I was known as very much the underdog throughout my sport. And for me, it was something like, okay, I'm going to be the underdog. Watch me be in the limelight. Watch me shine brighter than all the stars in the sky. Watch me walk into every room and people are going to know who I am. So that campaign was very much, I could relate to it because I have gone through that my whole entire journey. I've gotten things stripped away from me, but I won double. I've gotten things, kind of through social media, be put in a situation, and they told me I wasn't going to win a medal, so watch me, I'm going to win 4. So that campaign only resonated with me in a way to be able to really put myself in a position being like, you know what, that is true. You guys always say it's an issue to cry, so I'm going to cry even more. You always say it's an issue for me you always say, there's a bunch of things that people say and will always expect you. It's the expectation. Always expect you to do, and you're going to prove them wrong no matter what. So I've dealt with that throughout gymnastics. I still deal with that only because I'm still in it, and I like to prove people wrong even more, knowing that no matter what, you're not the one who is in my shoes who has to wake up every morning and do the things that I'm doing. You're not the one who has to go and hopefully fix your crown every morning and have to put a smile on your face to walk into a gym. You're not, so those type of things are the things that when this campaign came out, it was like, okay, yeah, I resonate with that, and I hope people understood the message, because at the end of the day, we're gonna win. We like to thrive. We like to conquer.
We're gonna do it regardless.
I love that.
What type of expectations do you feel that a young Jordan had as she was growing up?
Young Jordan had, I think, it wasn't really more of the expectation. It was, how can I be a better version of myself each and every day? I was told not to be the next, Gabby Douglas. I was told try not to be the next Shawn Johnson. I was told not to really be that next person, but be yourself. Be better than yourself each and every day. And so, at a young age, there was a lot of things that I always had dreams and wanted to accomplish. Now, did I do that? No, because I had to realize you can't control. I'm a religious girly. I grew up in the church and all that, so I'm gonna go the religious route of things. And you can't control your life unless you don't want God to help you with it. That's how I see it. I've experienced that, trying to control my own life, trying to be like, okay, this is where I'm gonna get married. This is when I'm gonna have kids. This is, I'm gonna become a zoologist. I'm gonna do all these things, but those were all mental ideas than they were heart ideas. And how I see it is, if your heart is what's telling you what to do, then that's what is the most available thing that you can accomplish. And so for me, those little things that I thought of when I was younger were all on bucket list, 100%. Those are bucket list items, becoming an Olympian, doing all these things, but I knew where my heart was gravitating towards more. And that was, becoming a businesswoman, becoming an icon, becoming a legend, becoming, this 2-time Olympian, so the gravitation and all of that was kind of, and the expectation was more of, I'm expecting Jordan to do what's the right thing and not go the wrong way.
When you were writing your book, did you feel that there were harder chapters to write than others?
Oh, 100%. My harder chapters were all the chapters that I had to relive my trauma. And reliving trauma isn't the best, because you have to actually relive it. You gotta, they make you close your eyes, try to think about, every single detail. You gotta get the nicks and grannies and, make the color of everything. And so those were the hardest moments. Those were the times where I literally had to, I cried. Because I'm like, there's no way I went through this. There's no way. I didn't get there's no way my braids got cut off. There's no way my plaque got, taken away from me. There's no way I got, smoked out in a car. There's no way those things were actually happening to me. but it was. But as you get older, you start blocking, you start blocking those things out of your life because you're like, you're trying to protect your heart, you're trying to protect your mind. And reliving that, it was really hard to express, but I'm happy I was able to relive it and express it because now I can really let it go. And be like, look, if you want to know more and know who I am, I have a whole book about my life. I don't have to relive it. I don't got to go through the trauma again. There's no point because I was able to write it out and put it on paper. And now people understand she went through all of this negative trauma. But now there's this beautiful human being standing in front of us, signing autographs, doing gymnastics for UCLA, representing Team USA. Like, there's more good things than there are negative because the negative was just one big ball that I had to hold on, and now I can finally let it go and just let it be in the past. So those days were tough. I can tell you those 8-hour, on the phone with the, with the publishers, and my mom was on there too because it was like, she knew a lot of my story. She documented everything that would happen to me. Literally everything from social media. Like, my mom would literally document. And when I mean I didn't know there was things that actually happened because I, again, blocked them out, she had to be like, Jordan, no, this is how. She's like, do you remember this? I'm like, no, there's no way. So it definitely was a crazy time to relive and figure out those things. But I'm definitely happy that I was able to because I'm like, wow, like my life was actually crazy. Like, I had a crazy life. Like, I had a crazy life, but now I'm standing in the presence of, like, so many amazing people, and it's just, like, my life was my life, and now I get to live it differently and be, like, this amazing girl.
Well, it sounds like writing that memoir helped you, like, overcome, like, all those past traumas, and I can only imagine, like, how difficult that was, but like, what message do you hope people who either read or listen to your book, like, what message do you hope they take away?
I definitely can say, truly, I know a lot of people, this is such old school, but never judge the book by its cover. Yeah. That is one thing, because you never know what people actually go through unless you go deep into their lives and you go into the dark web or Google and, really, really dive deep. Because when I mean I didn't realize what my life was like because of how much I blocked out through the years and purposely did it because I was protecting myself, it made me realize how strong and independent and resilient and grounded I was at such a young age. And what I want the readers to also understand, or listeners, because there is an audiobook, my life wasn't all fun and dandy like you guys think. I went through some hard stuff. Like, I did. I was verbally and emotionally abused. I was body shamed. I was told I wasn't black. I was told my mom wasn't my mom because she was Latin. I was told a bunch of things, and it was just, those things are what shaped the person I am today because I was able to realize I'm strong. I'm a strong girl. Like, I can't even say girl anymore. I'm a strong woman. Like,
woman, there we go.
Like, I'm a strong woman, and to be able to put that, into a book so people understand that is what made me feel like, okay, I want everybody to hopefully understand that mental health is a huge thing. Like, for real. It's not something that just because we're athletes we quote unquote joke about. No, we don't joke about those things. That's an actual fact, and it's an actual thing people go through. I was suicidal. I was all these things. Like, it's a true situation. 2, I never understood why people always thought, oh, we're just an athlete. Why is that the only thing that you see in someone who is this icon in the world of sports? So I also wanted the readers to understand that I was a human before I was even in a sport. I wasn't birthed from gymnastics. I was birthed from my mother. I was human before I was even an athlete. Like, I want them to understand that I had a life, and I still have a life, and I'm always going to have a life because my sport doesn't dictate who I am as a person. My life does. I learned about maturity. I learned about the independence of being a woman. I learned about, that sometimes you will get in trouble by your parents. I learned about all those things until a sport helped me mature and realize that discipline comes into play. Until, you have to figure out a time schedule. You have to figure out, you have to dedicate yourself to something. So whichever reader or listener, it's really more of understanding that never judge a book by its cover, because that is something that a lot of people don't understand, and they think that every morning we just wake up and life is fine. And that is not true. I have a whole book about it. It is not true. Like, not one bit. We don't just get to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I get to go run around the track. Yes, this is what I get to do. No. We actually sometimes contemplate life. And it's okay that we do, because that is because we are human and we have lives and we go through things, and things just make, like, moral of the story, how I see it, we don't live in a life of utopia. Because if we lived in a life of a utopia, everybody would live the exact same. But if we lived the exact same, people wouldn't really like each other, because it's like, why are you doing the same thing I'm doing? So that is why we don't live in a utopia, because everybody's paths, one, aren't perfect, and two, we all lived them differently. So that's the memoir was something to understand. Like, I didn't just wake up being this Jordan. I went through some crazy stuff, and I had the ability to take all that crazy stuff and make the person I am today.
Something that really jumped out at me as you were talking is earlier you talked about how you had to cut your braids, and then recently you said you were told you weren't black. Forgive me for assuming this might be the reason, but do you think it might have had something to do with you being lighter skinned, lighter toned, or what do you think caused that reaction from somebody?
Yes, my coach, she did it without me or my parents' permission when cutting my braids off.
Yeah.
Just giving me that heads up.
Yeah, I kind of like glossed over it because I didn't want to like bring it up.
Hey,
the
she
past
was. You read the book, you'll
really
learn a lot
wanted-
about her.
yeah.
People have been texting me about it and everything like that. But yeah, there was no permission in the cutting off my braids, like zero.
I mean,
it just.
As soon as you said that, it instantly reminded me of this Twitter video that constantly comes back up on my feed of a black male wrestler in high school having to cut off his locks.
Oh yeah.
Because they said it wasn't appropriate. And of course that was a random high school male, and here you have a Olympic champion, a two-time Olympian, Times cover of Woman of the Year, the finishing exclamation part on the Super Bowl commercial, like how everybody could be like, oh yeah, it happened to him, but when they hear it happened to you, now people are thinking, oh, maybe this is actually a problem, or at least that's how I felt when I heard you mention that at the long list of things that you pushed through in your life.
Yeah, it definitely, when I did see that video, it was definitely devastating. I honestly wish, I could go talk to those people, because why does a specific thing have to make it so? We're in a sport. We're not at a corporate job. We're not at a law firm. We're not at any of those things. We are supposed to enjoy and have fun with our sport. So if that is, and those are our, as kings and queens, those are our crowns. Those are something that people love to strip, but you can't strip because those are rooted in our heads. That's something God created that is supposed to grow out of our heads for a reason, because we are known for such beautiful, gorgeous, flawless skin, hair, whatever it is. So for you to take that away from us is like taking the worst thing away from anybody. It could be a little kid's baby doll, and you're just gonna snatch the baby doll away from them? Like, no. Like, that's honestly how, at any moment in time, I see something like that. You done took a piece of our land, that's how I feel. A piece of our land out of our own creation, and you just took it for no reason, because you're trying to be professional. Well, the professionalism comes from the athlete, and it comes from them being responsible for how they're feeling. This is why I always say, when it comes to the expectation, you guys expect us to run as fast as we can, to flip and do amazing things when you don't even know how we're feeling. But yet, since you think we're entertainment and you buy a ticket and you get to eat popcorn, you expect the movie to be all perfect. That's not how it works. In order for your movie to be perfect, you have to understand that the athlete or the characters have to be okay and be present in what they're trying to do, because that is what makes the entertainment entertaining.
Mm-hmm. You paid to watch something entertaining, not to watch a perfect human being.
Exactly. That should be on a shirt. You paid for something to be entertaining, not a perfect human being. And if you have a problem with that, then that's obviously something you have to fix within yourself. Because there is a lot of people who do go through a lot of things, and I don't want to take that from anybody, because trust me, I've gone through it myself. But you have to understand that as athletes, we aren't perfect every day. But since you think we're entertaining you, and just on that day, you think we have to be perfect, and we're not, you're going to go and criticize, then you should really, really think back into yourself and into your life and see what you got to fix within yourself. But anyways, besides that, before I go deeper into it, not being black thing is because I'm Afro-Latina. So for some reason, since I have Latin in me, sometimes people just don't think, because I'm not fully black, I'm considered black. So I think it's more of the fact that I'm mixed, and some people think that if you're mixed, you're not you're not a true black person because you don't go. Both of your parents aren't black, if that makes sense. I couldn't really tell you why people even think that, but then I also understand, like, you're sitting on the other side of the screen and trying to figure out what you're trying to do with life. And there's nothing wrong with that, but at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with yourself, why go and criticize somebody else? Which then makes you feel bad because you're looking at that person, wishing that you can be them while you're still criticizing them. That never makes sense to me. But then I also realized, look, that's their life, that's what they want to do, and if it makes them quote unquote feel better, then okay. But so the black thing, sometimes never makes sense, but it definitely is a crazy thing because I've told that you're not black. I'm like, yeah, I am. My skin color definitely says it. Definitely, if I walked into both rooms, whether it was all white or if it was all black, I would still be black.
Yeah. I mean, well, in spite of all of that, I mean, you were recognized as Time's Woman of the Year. And I feel like that is so like indicative and validating of who you are as a person. But when you were selected to be Woman of the Year, like, how did that feel for you? Like, what was that like?
Oh, well, I got a call from my amazing publicist, and it wasn't a call, it was a text. No, it wasn't a text. It was an email, and I was in Texas, and I was leaning against our kitchen counter in my home, and I was just like, enjoying the conversation, and all of a sudden we get this email, and it was like, Time 100, Woman of the Year. And I was like, Time 100? It's like Time magazine? Like, I had to reread it a few times. It was like, the Time magazine, like, okay, like, this is cool, this is great, like, wow. So I was in awe. That one I was like, this is like magazine cover, like paper, like it's in your hand, like, okay. So when I had this opportunity, I definitely, obviously, I took it, and I was like, okay, now if the Lord does what he does right, hopefully I'll be, you know, on the cover. Because you never know what they choose or anything like that, because it's always, you know, they choose multiple people. And so I was just, you know, I went and did the shoot with Asia, and, you know, we had a blast. We had all those things, and I believe it was about, 2.5 weeks ago, I want to say. I don't know, my weeks and my days are running into each other, but about 2.5 weeks ago, I did an interview, and I had an interview one morning, and then I get a call from my publicist, and she was like, Jordan, guess what? And I was like, what? She was like, hold on, I have to FaceTime you. And I was like, okay. I'm sitting there on my couch, and she goes, guess what? And I said, what? She goes, you're on the cover of Time. I said, what? Keep in mind, I'm still kind of half asleep here. Like, I said, there's no way. And she goes, you're on the cover of Time. And I was like, oh my gosh. The Time magazine? Like, this is my first cover, like, paper print. Like, people get, like, I have one downstairs in my house. It's me on a cover. Like, I was just in awe. I really enjoyed the moment. It just made me, that's when I felt like, besides the Super Bowl commercial, that's when I felt like, okay, the recognition is there. People are seeing my, you know, my ability and my success, not just within my sport, but also outside of my sport, of me being the person that I am. So definitely was something that I was so happy for. And yeah, it's crazy still. Like, it's still crazy. It doesn't make sense, but proud of myself.
I mean,
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption, but this podcast is sponsored by HUEL, spelled HUEL, the world's leading complete nutrition brand trusted by millions.
don't have time to prepare a complete balanced meal? HUEL has you covered.
It's for the most inconvenient meals with no prep, no cooking. Say goodbye to getting hungry and unsatisfying snacks. Just grab a HUEL instead.
Head to HUEL.com now to place your first order of this ultra-convenient meal.
We just got a shipment in for my team, and they all loved it. We ran through it so fast, we had to get another. Even my coach got in on it. From the energy drinks all the way to the meal prep, it's a great grab and go in between going from the track to the gym.
Whether I'm abroad or here at home, HUEL always has me covered. My favorite flavor is this chocolate right here. It always packs a flavor punch.
Our personal favorite is the Black Edition Ready to Drink.
I know Noah mentioned he uses HUEL in between practices, but I also use HUEL here at home when I'm chilling and if I'm missing a meal. HUEL is incredibly affordable with high protein meals, less than $5. It's a budget-friendly option that I'm genuinely excited about. HUEL makes getting all the protein you need convenient for everybody.
Because it's got a whopping 35 grams of protein, plus 27 vitamins and minerals, all in one handy bottle. HUEL's ready-to-drink meals are the easiest way to get all the nutrition you need in seconds.
Plus a free gift for new customers that spend at least $75 with the code BEYOND. That's BEYOND. Guys, you don't want to miss out on this. Trust.
Believe me, take the leap and join the community of Hooligans.
Guys, go check out HUEL.com and all the products they have. From energy drinks to complete meals, HUEL has always got you covered.
Fuel up the easy way with HUEL today.
Shout out to HUEL for sponsoring the pod. Guys, go get you some. Find HUEL at your local GNC, Amazon, and HUEL.com. That's HUEL.com. Like, do it right now, chat. Talk more about your memoir, your book. And you talked about, you know, once you started, you know, within 18 months, like you kind of knew that was going to be your life. And for a lot of us, you know, when I started running track, I was like, yo, like this is just, I'm just doing it to get faster football. So walk us through, like walk our audience through what it was like and how did you know so firmly and so passionately that was going to be your life?
I think for me, I mean, I can kind of say the same. Like you're talking about, you're just trying to, you know, get faster football. For me, it was, okay, I had really, really bad ADHD. This is what's going to calm me down. And so having that mindset, I taught myself a lot of the things when I was younger. I would literally go on YouTube and be like, oh, this is how it works. Okay, I'm going to teach myself. And I think being able to fall in love with something so quickly really came from this is actually helping me in school. I can focus more. I can actually sit down at a dinner table and eat with my family. I can have a full conversation without, jumping from wall to wall. So I think just really realizing like, oh, I actually have a talent and a gift at something that is helping me within my life. Why not just see how far I can go with it? And it was fun for me. I always thought I was a superhero ever since I was little. I was like, okay. So for me in the gym, it was like, okay, on bars, I feel like Spider-Man. On, floor, I feel like I can fly. Like, it just made me feel like I was superhuman. I wasn't normal. So I think having that mindset of being like, okay, this is fun. I get to do it almost every day. I get to be on the trampoline, flip around, learn new things, and kind of discover my talent as I'm getting older. But then I started winning, and who doesn't like winning? Come on now. I mean, Noah, you are the best person at winning. Literally, like who doesn't love winning? So when I realized, exactly. So when I started to realize, I went to my first competition. I started getting ribbons and all these things, and I was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. So that's when my mindset changed and was like, okay, I actually have a gift. I have a talent. I'm also very competitive. So let's push. I kept pushing myself to a limit. Like, how far can I go with this? And so it kind of just stuck with me. And I mean, it's worth the money. I can definitely say that for myself. Gymnastics is a very expensive sport. So I also did take that into consideration as well. That if I'm going to stay in this sport, then I have to really pay attention and dedicate myself to what I'm trying to do. And it really wasn't until after the 2008 Olympics that I saw Shawn Johnson and Nastia Liukin. And I really didn't think in my head that gymnastics was going to be the sport I went to the Olympics for. Again, it was saving me from having to, do all these other, tests and all these things being tested for ADHD. So it was like saving my life. But in 2008, I was sitting on the bed with my mom, and Nastia Liukin and Shawn Johnson were on the TV. And I was like, this is cool. I want to be like them. They're over here winning medals. They're on, people are watching them. They're out of the country. A girl loves to travel. So I was like, they're out of the country. They're doing all these things. Why not? Like, why not try it? So that's when my mindset even picked up even faster and was like, okay, like, let's see how far you can go with this. First, you started off just doing cartwheels in the baseball field, and now you're actually on a 4-inch piece of wood flipping and doing all these things, swinging from bar to bar, running at a non-moving object, which is very crazy. But it kind of just stuck with me then, and then I just ran with it. I literally took God's gift that he gave me and literally just ran with it to see how far I could go.
Yeah, you talked about ADHD a few times in there, and it jumped out at me only because I am diagnosed with ADD as well. When did you get diagnosed?
I was really little. I was young, and
Was it younger than 4, above 6?
I was in elementary school, I believe. So it's kind of hard to remember. Like, I just remember going into the school. They were telling my parents that I wasn't focusing in class because I was like going like from people to people, like I wasn't. Yeah.
You were being very social.
Able to sit. Yeah, I wasn't able to sit. And then they had told my parents, well, they told them you can either go get her tested or we can figure something out. And so they didn't realize how bad it was until my dad actually was trying. My mom went out of town. And my dad was trying to have a conversation with me. And I was giving him the full conversation as I was flipping and moving and like trying to grab things. But the moment he stopped me, everything went blank. I couldn't talk to him. I didn't know what I was saying. But then the moment he let go, I can give him the full conversation again. So that's when they started to realize, okay, maybe activity is what can help her kind of calm down. And so my dad was like, okay, like, I know you're out of town right now, babe, but like, look, we have to put her in something. We have to get her energy out in some way, shape, or form. Because I'm not against I'm going to say I'm not against people taking medication for having ADHD, having ADD, whatever it is, because that is something that they feel comfortable doing. And trust me, Simone, she is a very huge example as well. So for me, it just helped me getting my energy out in a different way than going that route.
No,
If
I
that makes sense.
completely understand. No, I completely understand.
Yeah.
I was on medicine and still doing a bunch of sports. So I could tell you the medicine only really helps, and it only helps you focus. But after that, you kind of feel like a blank slate, and you're just waiting for it to wear off so you can go back to bouncing off the walls. So I'd say that the natural way, finding that, that activity or way to get it out is a lot more fun. But having all that energy, do you feel that it made you better at sports? Because was gymnastics the only thing you did?
No, so when I was younger, I started gymnastics when I was 7. So when I was young, before 7, my mom used to put me. So my sisters and brothers did track football. The sports every kid does in high school, right? So there would be these little kid track meets before my siblings would run, and my mom would put me in those, and I'd beat everybody. So my mom thought I was going to become a track star, and so that obviously didn't happen. I went the other direction. I used to play t-ball. That was fun. I would hit home runs, but when I would be in the outfield, I would pick daisies and do cartwheels. I think the home run was the best part for me. Yeah, I would just run around. I hit the ball, woo, it went over the fence, and I would run around. I got a point for my team. And then I used to do ballet, dance, but gymnastics was kind of the main point, this is what you're doing sport. So, But yeah, I did kind of do sports before gymnastics.
And did you feel that,
How was that?
Having ADD helped you throughout gymnastics? Of course it helps, get it out.
Sure.
But at the same time, you're I'm assuming you have to go through so many thoughts throughout your head.
Oh, I go through so many thoughts just in general. And I think having gymnastics be so difficult that you have to think about so many different things, it was kind of it would kind of not soothe my brain, but soothe my brain because I would actually have to focus on the fact that, okay, your sport is difficult, and if anything happens, it would make me focus more. It would make me put myself in a position of being I know I cannot mess this turn up because I could actually hurt myself. So I started figuring out how to not think so much throughout my brain. Even still to this day, yesterday, I was jumping off the walls. I literally walked into my practice and everybody was like, Jordan, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine. What are you talking about? They're like, you're just really you're going at it. Today's one of those days. And I was like, oh, okay. Because it's sometimes if I don't focus, if I focus too much on my sport, I start going okay, my brain is, but if I kind of take myself off a little bit and not focus about a certain thing, then I can kind of relax more and put myself in a better mental understanding of my sport.
Yeah, hyperfixating and then overstimulating. the two biggest things that happened to us. When I entered the village on the first day, I was so overstimulated. I probably ran around the whole village and did almost every interaction. And then, my fiance came up to me. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm just like, "I'm just overstimulated." I gotta touch everything. I completely understand.
that was me yesterday. I was very overstimulated yesterday. And then today I'm fine though. I'm okay.
Went to UCLA for 2 years. And, I was cool with a couple of gymnasts. And I know the path to becoming a gymnast isn't necessarily known to all. And I know in some cases, a lot of athletes were homeschooled because, you'd have to practice all the time. Now, how was that? Was that the case for you?
No, I was actually during my time period. I would say I went through 4 quads. So during my during my first 2 quads, yeah, because the last 2, I wasn't in school except for when I went to college. But I went to school. I've gone to school my whole entire time of having to go to school. So from K through 12, I went to school.
Okay.
I did maybe 2 classes online in high school because I had to obviously go to practice and, get my diploma at the end and all that stuff. So I was the only one during that time that I went to school. Everybody else, like whether it was Kyla, whether it was Allie, like they did online school. Yeah. So I was the not normal one.
Did you enjoy school?
Sorry?
Did you enjoy school?
I did enjoy school. I love school. I went to prom, winter formal, homecoming, football games. I needed that because I am too social. Like I literally told my mom, I said, Mom, you are not going to be able to see your daughter graduate if you have her look at a computer the whole time. Because my brain stops functioning. I'll start looking up random stuff. I just can't focus. Like it doesn't work. So being in school was easier for me because I had the ability I'm a visual learner. So you show me everything that I need to do, that's perfectly fine. Like I will do my work and I just need to be around people.
I understand.
I was the popular one.
Oh, I believe it. I very much believe you were a popular one. What color was your dress at prom?
My dress was red.
Okay.
You wore a red dress to prom.
I wore a red dress to prom, yep.
What's wrong with a red
crazy.
dress?
No,
Right.
that's just like a red dress is like, it's like, yeah, I'm it. Like I'm the shit. Like look at me.
And everybody, once I walked in, with my date and all, everybody was upset because they were like, there's no, I'm not gonna say really much about it, but I'm pretty sure like my dress was like the best there. But
Really? I bet.
No
I didn't go
doubts,
to
no
prom,
doubts.
so
You didn't go to
I
prom,
can't
man?
really. I did not go to prom, man.
I enjoyed prom. For a little
I'm
bit.
happy for you. So Jordan, being that you're from Washington in Region 2 and Region 2 isn't necessarily known for gymnastics, like what was your drive like and what were your struggles and what were your successes coming up through that division of gymnastics?
well, I think what helped me push further into my career, knowing that Region 2 or even being in Washington wasn't very known for gymnastics, was trying to show, like, look, gymnastics can be everywhere around the world. It can be everywhere, like, in all the states. And so just giving everybody the understanding, like, no matter how your path is or what route you're going to go, don't let where you live, where you're from, dictate how you want to pursue the rest of your life. So that was kind of my mindset. And also the support system I had around me was more of, okay, you have this talent, so why not make Washington known? And why not, make this big thing of gymnastics throughout Region 2? So that was more of where I was coming from. How can I make Region 2 be known in the gymnastics era? Because it wasn't. So I wanted to be able to kind of give the perspective of I never considered myself talented when I was younger. I just knew I had a gift until I knew I had to go to the proper people to help me bring my talent out. So I just wanted to continue to kind of strive for something greater. My goal was the exact same. Like I wanted to become an Olympian. So if that's me being in Washington or if that was me moving to Texas, how can I still inspire the younger generation to understand that no matter where you're going, your beginning is going to be how you ended. So for me, like my beginning goal was becoming an Olympian, and my end goal, I became an Olympian. But just because I started in Washington and I ended in Texas, those don't dictate how my journey or my path was going to lay out. because I still had the same dedication and the same strive pushing to my goal. So it was complicated being in Washington, 100%, but people knew who I was and knew that, my gym is known now in Washington. I get people always calling or DMing me, hey, I go to Nadanoff, hey, I saw you at this gym. And so I think putting that on the map for Washington was kind of like the biggest thing that I wanted to kind of pursue and try to see where gymnastics can be seen more. It's a women's sport, if you think about it. So it's like, it's hard to kind of put in perspective of, women's sports weren't being seen when I first started. Now they are, so it's a bigger platform and a bigger understanding in tiny states like that. Even though Washington isn't tiny, but like where I lived, Vancouver, it was the community was very small.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Washington?
I enjoyed it for the time being. I enjoyed, it's beautiful out there. It was something, if you like nature, if you like greenery, like it's a gorgeous place, but the rain is what got me. And, obviously there was things that happened in Washington that is traumatizing, and I don't want to relive or re-go through that. It's definitely in my book. I mean, I had a crazy coach, and she kind of made Washington my ew, like I don't want to deal with Washington anymore area. So, but besides that, that's where I met, some good friends who are still friends with me now. I got to, all my memories of having snow fights and, getting the top of a trash can going down the hill next to our house. I had animals out there. So living in Washington was actually, it was fun for the 18 years that I did live there for.
So you were an outside,
yes, I was an outside kid.
Rough and dirty and
yes, I would bring
trees.
insects home. Yep. I'd bring insects home in my pockets. I would play horse with my family. I actually was the youngest to actually shoot a 3-pointer out of the family.
Let them know.
Yeah. What else was there? I don't know. I just did some crazy stuff. I enjoyed the
Any bumps or
outdoors.
bruises?
Oh, of course. I think I cracked my head open one time. I used to have a motorcycle, a moped, a hoverboard. I was a reckless little kid. I just would try everything. I felt like I was invincible. Like, why not try it?
I love it.
So you took that. Sorry, no,
you're good.
You took that recklessness. You go to the Olympics. You win, right? And then there's this big controversy over your individual. Like, can you tell us about that?
I can't say a lot about it. I mean,
Yeah.
my lawyer and my attorney are all working the best that they can to fight for what is right. I mean, I'm still fighting. But I have...
Well, just walk us through the competition itself.
The competition... the competition itself was the most craziest thing It was crazy just in general. I mean, I was the last person to go to close out literally gymnastics for the Olympics. And I think the biggest thing that I realized in that moment was being like, okay, look, Jordan, this is a test of how strong you can be, knowing that you competed already for a week. You have been here for 2.5 weeks. Like, this is a test for you. So, I mean, I took that test really hard, and I was just proud that I was able to be in the presence of so many amazing, talented athletes. And, that day was long. It was beam and floor finals, so I had to be there when Simone was there because she had beam finals. And watching that and kind of, realizing, like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing that you are about to experience. Why not just have fun with it? And that's what I did. Going into floor finals, I was like, I'm just going to have fun. Whatever the outcome is whatever the outcome is. Now, I already was thinking, I can't control what happens after. Really can't. All I can do is just go out onto the floor and just do what I need to do. So that's what I did. I mean, during my floor routine, I was really excited. I was taking each and every breath, trying to find my momentum, making sure every leap and every turn was on point and doing everything the best that I can. And after that, I just knew I was just gonna, let God do his work. I can't do anything else. I did my job, so kind of just let everybody do the work that they needed to, and it turned out to be this amazing thing. I mean, it's a history podium right there. It's always going to be in history books. It's always going to be known, and being next to two icons who not only are the greatest in their countries, but literally are the greatest in our sport. And I really appreciate it. Just felt right in that moment that I was supposed to be up there with those girls. Like, it felt like it was a much needed educational statement for a lot of people. And I think that was really cool to be a part of. And, and I need people to understand, an inquiry can happen to anybody. And that's where a lot of people think, it never happens. It does. It happens all the time. It happens all the time in gymnastics. Like, an inquiry always happens. So, yes, again, it can either go up, it can either go down, it can either stay the same. So the judges get to choose that, and they get to decide and do all that stuff, not the athletes. And I think that's where people kind of don't understand, or it's like miscommunicated through social media, especially. We can't control what the judges are doing in that moment or anything like that. So I just had to put that out there, because a lot of people do ask, like, how does an inquiry work? And it's, you put in something, what you believe your values are, and then after that, everything else is handled by the judges and by everybody else. So it's not us athletes that are controlling that. But once I saw it change, I was in awe. There's so many pictures, there's so many videos of me crying and screaming, and it was just it was literally like the best thing I could have ever felt. Now what happened after, yeah, that was devastating. All that stuff was very, interesting, and there's a lot of things that go into it, but I just know now, as being the person that I am, 6 months ago, I would tell you, no, I was not okay. But now I can tell you, yeah, I'm okay. I can't do anything about it. I know everybody's doing the best that they can to support me, to fight, to do all those things. And I'm living life in a crazy era. Like, I would say it's a blessing in disguise. Like, what happened was a blessing in disguise. Because who would have thought I would be Time Woman of the Year? Who would have thought I would be a part of Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition? Who would have thought I'm New York Times best-selling author, right? Like, who would have thought those things? So now I've just realized, okay, look, I'm at UCLA. I'm enjoying my life. I'm a dog mom. I'm doing all these crazy things. So I'm just going to let everything that happened 6 months ago be pushed to the people that know what they're doing, and I can't do anything about it. I can't control anything. All I can control is myself. So now I'm just like, okay, yes, that was Paris. Great, cool, have fun. We're living life. Now I'm just going to keep pushing forward, because I have more life to live. I'm not going to let this little piece of my story take the rest of my life, because I have more to it.
Jordan, I think what you just said is very powerful in letting go. And I think, for almost every athlete and every person probably in life, letting go is not easy. How did you find the strength to do that?
The strength came from my teammates at UCLA, actually. I, was terrified walking into a gym after what happened. I was terrified of even getting on the equipment. I was terrified to even compete. And because I didn't know what people were going to say, what people were going to do, if I was going to get, yelled at or something. Like, it was just a lot of things, interrogated. Like, there was just a lot of things that were going through my brain. And then I don't know if you guys saw the post that I had posted, and I was like, I finally get to be able to love competing again. And what I meant by that was understanding that being on the competition floor and seeing how many people came to our meet to support us, not just me, but my whole entire team, just made me realize that's how much support I had when everything was happening. And I was finally able to put my heart back together and be like, Jordan, embrace everything that is happening around you. Embrace the fact that you have people who are standing their ground. Embrace the fact that, you can wake up in the morning each and every day and be okay, because a lot of people don't get that ability. They never know if they're going to wake up the next morning. They never know if they're going to be able to walk the next day or even drive. So I just had to realize and like really dive deep into thanking everybody that's around me, and, you know, understand that, look, the let go part is going to be that, you know, that was like a piece of the devil sitting on my shoulder that whole entire time for no reason. Like, there was no reason for him to be sitting there when I know that I know what's right. I did everything right. I can't control what else is happening. So I just needed to be brushed off my shoulder. So that let go process was really more of the support and the people around me that were uplifting me, but also realizing that I had all these amazing opportunities come my way. And I'm very thankful for that. And very, you know, people are being able to see the fact that I like am doing things for myself. Everything I do is for myself. So that's kind of how I started to realize, okay, look, I'm just going to let it go. Now, did it take me a while? Yes. It took me about 6 months. But I always, you know, my dad always tells us it's okay to grieve, but grieve only for a minute. Just give yourself a minute and then you'll be perfectly fine. So that minute for me was that 6 month time period, because I had to figure out, why did it happen to me? What was the point? And what was the outcome of everything? And that's when I realized, okay, this is it. I can't control anything else. I'm not going to do anything else about it. I'm just going to keep pushing on and enjoy my college, enjoy my life. I'm 23. Everything happens. You know, that's how I see it. Everything happens for a reason. Like, there's only so much that the world can be seen in people's eyes unless we are living in a utopia. And unfortunately, that's not how we live. We live all independent lives, and those independent lives are able to create amazing things. And so that's kind of how I just was like, okay, it's time to let go. Let go and let God.
Dang, you should write a book.
So
Hey, that was actually amazing. Like, while you were talking about that, it kind of reminded me of my Olympic experience in 2020, 2021, and, you know, the heartbreak that I felt as well too, and you know, taking that 6 months to really get over that. So no, that was really powerful. I love that.
Thank
Love
you.
that.
So now you've let go. It wasn't easy. 6 months. It wasn't easy, but you've been able to let go. Have you been able to enjoy the accomplishments that you've had in the last year?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm starting with the beginning of 24. Now, have I been able to fully, like, accepted the fact that I came back with medals from Paris? No, not yet, because it's like everything was like back to back to back to back. But I've been able to kind of, you know, not relive, but like remember the memories that I had at the beginning of the year. Whether it was classics, whether it was championships, whether it was, you know, my birthday, whether it was my best friend coming to visit. Like, I started to, you know, figure out, okay, this is how the year went. This is how I was leading up to this amazing moment at the end of at the end of 2024. So those are like the yes moments, but the no is more so because I've been going, like nonstop through, whether it was press, whether it's photo shoots, whether it's all those things. But I kind of told my team to do that so I could get my brain off of what was happening with my situation, my own case. So it was just more of, you know, now I think I can probably be like, okay, I just went and bought myself a gift for my Olympics not that long ago. Like,
Wait, what'd you get? What
did I get? I bought myself my very first Chanel bag.
Hey,
Ooh.
let's go.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So
Congrats.
yeah, it was a very, you know, it was like, I realized, I was like, you know what, like, I guess now I can buy myself that gift and kind of, you know, realize I did an amazing job there, and it was an amazing experience. So I'm starting now. I can tell you now I'm starting to, you know, okay, great, I did that. Wow, that's cool. Like, my friend, my roommate, she would sometimes tell me, be like, you remember you did this? And I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right, I did do that. You know, because to me, for the first 3 months, when people would ask me, oh, like, have you accepted your accomplishments? And to me, like, my whole year was just Paris because of what happened. Like, that's how I felt like my whole entire year was. Like, I had to start remembering, no, Jordan, that was the back end of your career. Like, the back end of your Olympic experience, you know? So, yeah, now I'm there. I'm getting to the full picture of what 2024 was.
So then what's the theme for 2025?
2025, I've been stuck on this whole let's go crazy thing, but there's this motto. It's not really a motto, but like Megan Thee Stallion, it's like a mantra, I guess. She says in her song, this year I did my big one, next year I'm going bigger. And I've kind of been on that wavelength. And I think that's where I'm at. Like, this year I did my big one in 2024, and now in 2025, next year I'm going bigger. Like, I'm just going to go bigger and better. That's how I feel, bigger and better. Control only what I can control, and kind of just, understand that, yes, that girl is always going to be there, but there's a bigger version of who she is.
Ooh, what's bigger and better in Jordan's mind?
Bigger and better, I mean, besides what's in my sport, and I'm at UCLA, obviously, NCAA titles, there's a bunch of things that, every athlete wants to experience when they're in college. I think right now, it's really just diving deep into what more I can do within, my business, whether it's finding a way to build new income in a different route, finding new deals, doing hopefully mentorship programs, all these amazing things. I actually do have this athlete collective. It's called Shiro, and what Shiro is basically a mentorship program that I help not so much, I don't want to say the younger generation, that's what I'm starting it with right now, is the younger generation, and kind of giving them this platform of understanding, look, you can make a name for yourself, not just within your sport, but also outside your sport, right? You can be, this amazing athlete, go to Florida, and also be this amazing architect in your, building houses, right? So I'm trying to give them that type of understanding that there is more to you than just an athlete, but also teach them that there are, taxes. There are W-9s. What's a 1099? Those normal life things as well, because I was able to learn those at a young age because my mom was in the business area and she knew properties and all that. So I think giving that understanding to them, whether they're freshmen in college or whether they're going to college, so they're not in a huge complete like, wow, what do I do now? I'm a freshman. I'm at school. I do my sport. I don't know if this rent is supposed to be right. Did I get paid? So just giving them a different perspective of how life can be and just make a name for themselves. NIL is a huge thing right now, so just giving them that leeway and that, head start.
Give back, give back, give back. I'm constantly hearing you say that, and I see it's very strongly a part of your core.
I like how the stars are aligning for you now, and I feel like some doors, unfortunately close just so that others could open up. And I feel like, from what I've seen these past couple of weeks and like even today, like such amazing doors are opening for you. So round of applause for you.
Thank you. Because I can go all day on that.
Oh, I would love to hear it. Wow, truly.
But no, I feel you on that. But segue. For International Women's Day, it was announced that you have a Barbie doll, one of one. What was that process like? Did you have any involvement on what your doll would look like? Walk us through that. Like, how was that?
So the process of creating a Barbie doll to make it look like you is honestly it's complicated. It's a little, I got to go and see how they make Barbies and all that stuff at Mattel and their headquarters, and I was just like, wow, this is how it works. This is how, they put the hair in the head and all this stuff. Like, it was really cool. But it's always a dream for a little girl to be like, Mom, I want a Barbie of me. That's something that a lot of young, like, little girls have always said, and I was one of them. So knowing I have a one-of-one Barbie doll that is, especially during International Women's Month, is amazing, especially being able to, understand everything that I've gone through, whether it was the struggle, the pain, the aches, the happy moments, the sad moments. That Barbie doll just is something that gets to represent all of that for all the younger, generations, to be able to look and be like, look, Ma, she was able to create a Barbie doll and she was able to do this. It's like that saying, if she can do it, I can do it, right? So it was a really cool opportunity. I enjoyed it. People have been asking me, are they selling them? Are they selling them? And I'm like, no, it's just a one of a kind. Hopefully one day over the rainbow, I get, maybe have Barbie dolls on the shelves and in stores. And so it was a really cool opportunity. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I was like, oh, wow. The involvement, yes, I did have the, if I want the tattoos and the fingernails, what Leo I wanted on it and how my hair and all that stuff. So I did have some involvement in it, but a majority of it, my team and my mom helped out because I was very, very busy. So yeah, it was really cool. I had fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your mom, your mom convinced your dad to name you Jordan because of your mom's, she had a little bit of
Deep affinity.
excitement, a deep affinity for Michael Jordan. And, being that we're both Nike athletes, right? Like, has there ever been any conversation with you and Nike, like, working with the Jordan brand?
At the beginning, I think there was, but I couldn't be completely honest. I think it's just so hard since I am named after him and he already has his own brand that it's kind of hard to really, like, because trust me, I've asked, like, hey, it'd be cool, like, a Jordan times Jordan, like, that's great. But, I think the biggest part is realizing that, I'm named after somebody so iconic and legendary that no matter what, people still till this day are like, hey, Jordan, I'm wearing your brand. And I'm like, that's not even my brand, but thanks, like.
You yourself, you're iconic too. But
oh, thank you.
You wear Jordans?
Yes, I wear Jordans. Those are the
What's your favorite pair?
Jordan girly. My favorite pair is probably right now the off-white Jordan ones. They're the blue and white ones. Yeah.
Nike, come on. Let's get Jordan a collab with the J1s.
I would love that. I would love that.
Just put me on your friends and family.
I appreciate everybody supporting though, honestly, truly, because people keep asking, is there gonna be a shoe? Is there gonna be a shoe? And I'm like, guys, I can't. Like, what is this supposed to be called? Like, I can't make a shoe. I can't call it Jordan's shoe. Like,
did he reach out when you won your medal at the Olympics?
He did reach out and he said, congratulations and hope we can talk soon. I believe something like that. It was along the lines of him congratulating me and then we should talk soon. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get this talk on the books, man.
Agreed.
Please, please. I'm more so curious of what you come up with.
Like my shoe?
Yeah.
I have a very creative mind, so.
Well, if you can't tell, all my Jordans back here.
Rye, you gotta speak closer to the mic.
I said that if you can't tell, all my Jordans are back here, so I'm a big Jordan guy as well too. But I think that'd be super cool if you guys, did a little something.
Yeah, I think that'd be a vibe. It'd be a vibe. Yeah. We'll see. You never know.
All right, Jordan, where can we keep watching you? I mean, you're doing all these amazing things. You're inspiring people. Where can people follow your journey along the way?
Well, I am on social media, so the first thing you can do is go to my Instagram or my TikTok or my Facebook or my Twitter or my Threads. And if honestly, and all of those, because they all basically are my name, you can go at Jordan Chiles on Instagram, on TikTok. you can go. Sometimes it comes up as Baby Joe, or it will come up as Jordan Chiles, whichever one. On Twitter is at Chiles Jordan. On Facebook, it is, I believe, at Jordan Chiles. There's two different ones. There's my professional one, and then there's my own. So either one, it's up to you. And then on Threads, I believe it's the same as my Instagram. But those are like my social handles. A majority of the time, since I am at UCLA right now, you'll probably just see me, competing. We go to Utah this weekend for a rival competition. So if you guys want to watch, thank you. If you guys want to watch, you guys can, that's Fox. Go on Fox Sports. NCAAs are coming up. What else is there? I probably have a lot of, business things I have to do. I'm probably going to get a call at some point tonight from my personal assistant telling me everything that I'm going to have to do. Business-wise, I think it's just elevating Jordan Chiles Inc., seeing how far the business of myself can go and seeing the path and the journey and what more I can give within not only myself, but also to everybody else around me. I'm a giver. That's like my love language. I will give until I can't give no more. And yeah, that's really about it right now. I think the biggest thing is taking it day by day, month by month, year by year. And probably you guys are probably going to ask me, are you going to do LA?
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah.
No, we all know the answer.
We all know the answer. I think my biggest thing right now is really making sure my mental and physical are connected. Right now, mentally, I'm still in college. My brain is all college right now because I do have only a few more years of that. And then they always say an athlete mentally can do everything, but physically is going to be the hardest. So I think just really focusing on that. And then we'll see how everything turns out. Again, I'm taking it year by year, day by day. So yeah.
It's a great mentality. Well, thank you, Jordan. Thank you for joining us. It was wonderful. Guys, if you haven't, please go get Jordan's book, New York Times bestseller. If you're not a big reader and you're on your way to work, you can always listen, but please go check her book out today, whenever you can. So, Jordan, thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much.